Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. Today we're excited to check out Munchkin Oz from Steve Jackson Games. This is for 3 to 6 players, ages let's say about 13 plus. It'll take about 1 to 2 hours to play. And in Munchkin Oz, you're going to be playing your typical game of Munchkin. You're going to be kicking down doors, fighting monsters, trying to help or possibly hinder your opponents when they are fighting monsters, gaining treasure, equipping cool things, doing all sorts of stuff of that ilk, but with a Munchkin of Oz theme on there that is in each and every card pretty much that you get in this game. There's new classes, new equipment, lots of new stuff going on in this game. Let's open it up, I'll tell you about it. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Munchkin Oz from Steve Jackson Game. First and foremost, we have our handy dandy rule booklet, 3 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations. It's a very, very well done rule booklet, as it should be, considering this is like the 9th or 10th full expansion they've done for this game. One thing I do want to mention is there's a good deal of humor in the rule booklet as well, which is always a big thumbs up for me. I will say, though, you will have to go back to the rule booklet quite frequently, especially when you're first starting the game, because there's a lot of little tiny rules that you might forget, even though the game is very simple. So in Munchkin, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be kicking open doors, fighting monsters, gaining treasure, equipping them on you, gaining classes, hurting other people in this take-that kind of game, trying to race to 10 points. Now, everything you see here is going to come in the game, except for these 2 D10 dice, because in this particular version of the game, in fact, any version of Munchkin that you get that does not have Deluxe at the end, you are not going to have a way to keep score, even though it's pretty easy to keep score because you're only going to 10, but we use D10s commonly when we play to help keep score. So, component-wise, what are you going to get? You're going to get cards, and you're going to get 1 die. The 2 kinds of cards you're going to get are going to be door cards like this, which will generally either have curses, or a lot of them will have monsters, because you're going to have to fight these monsters. Some will also have classes and various other different things. Also, the treasures are over here. So there's the door deck, there's the treasure deck, and treasures will always be good. They might be something you can wear that'll help you out. They might be an instant level up. They might be attacks on other players. They might be equipment or weapons or all sorts of good stuff. And as you can see, everything from the game is going to be Wizard of Oz themed, because obviously it's Oz Munchkin. And another thing I want to mention is there's a good deal of humor in these cards. When you first play this game, actually for the first couple plays, you're going to be consistently looking at these cards and laughing and enjoying the Wizard of Oz humor, because I'm assuming if you bought this, you like Wizard of Oz. So I will want to mention there's numerous versions of Munchkin. I've reviewed Munchkin before, so I'm not going to go way too in-depth on the gameplay. If you're interested in an in-depth gameplay review, I will post a link somewhere around here showing you my original review of Munchkin, where I go really in-depth on how the game is played. But I am going to cover very briefly how the game is played. So first thing you're going to do on your turn, everyone's going to get 4 cards at the beginning of the game. 4 treasure cards, 4 door cards. You're going to put those in your hand, and then you're going to equip everything that you can equip. That would be weapons, or classes, or allies, or armor, or various other different things like that. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to kick open the door. And as you guessed, that is the door card. You're going to flip it over, and if it's a monster, you're going to face it. However, if it's not a monster, you're going to have a couple different options. You can either look for trouble or loot the room. Loot the room means you're going to take another one of these cards, and bada boom, you've just gained 2 cards that turn, which is always a good thing. Look for trouble means you're going to look in your hand, and you're going to say, alright, I can probably defeat this low-level monster, and then you will play a low-level monster down. Now, let's pretend that you kick open the door and you encounter a monster. When that happens, you have to instantly face the monster. So this is a little level 12 Try Hutu the Great Jin Jin. And he's -3 against royalty, so if you're a royalty, he's only level 9, and you're going to have to face him. If you can defeat him, though, you, in addition to gaining 1 level, which is victory points essentially, you need to race to 10, you will also gain 3 treasure cards, which is listed at the bottom right. So defeating monsters is always good, because it's always going to get you, most of the time, treasures and a level. However, what might happen, especially early game, is you're like, I can't defeat a level 12. I'm in a lot of trouble. So you can ask other people to help you defeat the monster, but in exchange you might trade treasures or various other different things like that. You can't give away your level, though. But what might happen sometimes is bad stuff. So let's just pretend you can't defeat this monster. You're going to have to run away from the monster. That's where the nice little neon green die is going to come into play. It's a standard D6, but the difference is instead of a 1, they have the nice little Munchkin symbol right there. And if you run away, then hooray, you ran away, nothing really bad is going to happen to you. But what could potentially happen to you, and what's going to be on every card, is bad stuff. For instance, this guy, bad stuff. Banished. You must step away from the table at the start of your next turn. You may not play or receive any cards or take part in any table talk. So essentially, that's actually not a terrible thing. It just means you're not going to be able to impact the way other people play, because a lot of the time you might play plus to their monsters or minus to their monsters, or ally yourself with someone in order to gain treasure or do various different things like that. However, late in the game, this could be a big deal. Let's say somebody's at level 9 and they're about to win the game. If you have cards that can prevent that and you have to walk away, that could really hurt you. But then at the same time, late in the game, you can say, oh guys, I have a really good card that's going to stop this guy from winning. Then they might help you out because they think you're going to prevent someone else from winning. Because this is the definitive take that game. But anyway, you're going to do that. You're going to kick open the door. You're going to look for trouble to loot the room if you can't fight the monster. And then there's called Charity, which is you can only have 5 cards in your hand at a time, at which point, if you have more than that, you're going to have to give your cards to the weakest players. So it's a little bit of a catch-up mechanic in that. And you're going to go to 10 points. So that's how Munchkin is played, Munchkin Oz in particular. Now, for those of you looking at this as an expansion right now, I'm going to go over the different classes in the card, the different classes in the game, because that's probably what you're most interested in. So first and foremost, we have our Super Munchkin, which you've seen a lot of different versions of Munchkin, so I'm not really going to go too much into that. That just means you can have more than one class at a time. You can have 2 class cards. So let's get to the 4 class cards included in the game. First, we're going to have Royalty. Royalty, you may have any number of allies, but may not discard them for an automatic escape. So that's pretty useful because, allies very, very helpful, as many of you know, and you can have a lot of them. So you can essentially just go out of your way to try to get as many allies as possible. And you also get an extra +1 in combat bonus for each of your allies. So the more allies you have, she's all about hoarding allies. So essentially, if you're playing with a lot of allies, Royalty's definitely the way to go. Next, you're going to have the Soldier, which also deals with allies. Each time you level up, you may, if you wish, discard an item and draw a face-down treasure to replace it. You may have 1 extra ally. So essentially, this one's going to allow you to have an extra ally and also potentially get some more treasure for getting rid of a card that you might not want to use. Next, you're going to have the Professor, one that I really enjoy using whenever you are the lowest level player or tied for lowest. At the end of your turn, you may go up a level for every 3 cards you discard from your hand. Now, this sounds really like it's really bad, but at the same time, it's going to allow you to level up whenever you want to, as long as you have the cards. And also, a secondary ability, also great for leveling up. Publish or Perish. If you successfully run away from a monster whose bad stuff includes death, go up a level. So that's very useful as well. Last but not least, we're going to have the Wizard. You may discard up to 3 cards after rolling the die to run away. Each one gives you a +1 bonus to flee. So she's really good from running away from things, which is also interesting because then you can challenge some more heavy monsters that you may or may not defeat. And you're saying, why would you want to do that? Because you're going to be good at fleeing away. And also, that can potentially cause people to use useful cards out of their hand, to bump up that monster, is one thing that I've played with it. Last but not least, we have the Charm spell. You may discard your whole hand, minimum of 3 cards, to charm a single monster. I like this ability a lot. This means that you're going to defeat the monster and you gain the treasure, but you do not gain the level. So let's just say you have a really juicy monster. This one's really good early game, I must mention. Like, say you have a monster that's going to give you 3 treasure, and you're like, this is right at the beginning of the game. You obviously cannot defeat the monster. You open the door, and boom, you get something that's not a monster. Then you can still play that monster down there, and then you can say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and use my spell, discard these cards, and gain these 3 treasure right here, which can give you a big bump up in the game. But those are the 4 classes you're going to be getting in Munchkin Oz, and that, in a nutshell, is how Munchkin Oz is played. Oh, great dokery. Munchkin Oz from Steve Jackson Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go to the pros, let's go to the cons. First, on the con side, let's get the obvious one out of the way. If you don't like Munchkin, just steer clear of this. This is not going to do anything new for you that's going to make you say, wow, I've been wrong about Munchkin all this time. It is still a very, very take that game. Each and every step of the way when you're playing this game, you're going to get slapped around by other players. They're going to be bumping up monsters and hurting you and stealing things and destroying things and doing all sorts of stuff. So if you don't like that, well, then steer clear. But you probably already knew that. Continuing on with the cons, this one's a little bit weird. The box is kind of odd. It's a very odd box. I haven't seen any of the other Munchkins that do something like this. It's not really a con, it's just something I wanted to point out. Something a little bit weird. Continuing on with another con, and this is pretty standard for other Munchkin games aside from the deluxe ones, you are going to need something to keep track of the score, which is a little bit of a nuisance, but not entirely a big deal. Another thing is, you're going to have to keep coming back to the rule booklets over and over and over again for minor rules here and there. There's a lot of text on the cards, which is another thing that a lot of people don't like, but that's pretty par for the course with Munchkin as well. I personally do like it because it helps you from going to the rule book a lot because there's so much information on the cards. The humor, once again, with all the other versions of Munchkin, it's very hit or miss. If you don't like the humor, you're probably not going to like the humor. If you do like the humor, you're going to like the humor. Also, the Wizard of Oz theme is deeply ingrained in this game, so if you don't like Wizard of Oz, that's going to be a turnoff, but then again, you're probably not going to buy this if you don't like Wizard of Oz. Kind of a no-brainer. Any other cons I have with this game? Oh, yeah, there is a new variant here that well, at least I have not played with it, that's supposed to make it a quicker game where you can share a victory. I hate that variant. It's so terrible. Essentially, if someone else helps someone else get to level 10, then they automatically win as well, and that is just a god-awful rule. I can't stand it, but it is a variant, so it's not something you play with unless you choose to play with it. I was like, ooh, a quicker way to play Munchkin. That's great. And then I was like, no, don't play that way. It's terrible. I don't recommend it personally, but that's me personally. You try it out. Your mileage may vary. Last con I have with this game is, and this is true with other versions of Munchkin as well, is that the game is too long for its own good. Now, I'm going to go into the pros, and I'm going to recommend Munchkin because I like Munchkin. It's fun, and I do like Munchkin Oz. I like the cards, I like the humor, all that good stuff. But the game is still just too long. It stretches on, and it's got that problem where you'll have like 2 people at level 9, and you'll be like, alright, the game's about to go. And then someone will play a card and say, nope, the game's not about to end. Then you'll play another 15, 20 minutes, and that can be annoying when you get to that part. But, moving on to the pros, I still enjoy Munchkin. This is an unpopular opinion amongst reviewers for some reason, and I don't think that's fair. I really don't, because I bet you a lot of them secretly, deep down, have had some fun playing Munchkin, and I do! I enjoy Munchkin. Now, granted, it is heavy with Take That. It's a little bit too long, but there's a reason there's like 10 expansions for this game. That's because it's dumb, stupid fun. I have a lot of fun with this game. I busted this out. I had a lot of fun looking at the cards, and I'm not by any means a huge Wizard of Oz fan. I've seen the movie 3-4 times. I enjoyed it when I was a kid. It actually scared me a little bit when I was a kid, but the theme is deeply ingrained in this. I liked it a lot. I liked some of the new classes that were in the game. Those were a lot of fun to play with. I in particular like the Professor. I think it's the Wizard, where you can... my favorite ability in the entire thing is where you give up the 3 cards, and then you defeat the monster, but you don't get the level, but you still get the treasure, and that's really fun to do, because people are like, challenge a monster. Like, it'd be like the first or second turn, you'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna lay down this level 18 monster. And they're like, what are you doing? And you're like, well, because I can do this, just discard these cards, and then gain all this delicious treasure. As you can tell, I really do enjoy Munchkin Oz. Now, it's a game that I don't get to the table too often, and this is just Munchkin in general. That's because I've evolved. I don't play Munchkin too terribly often. I feel like that's how a lot of people are in this hobby. You play Munchkin when you first get into the hobby, then a lot of people just push it to the side. But I implore you to go back and revisit it, because it is still some take that fun in this game. So Munchkin Oz, I definitely can recommend. If you enjoy Munchkin, this is a no-brainer. This is an instant buy. Go check it out. More cards, more classes, lots of humor. Great game if you enjoy Munchkin. If you don't enjoy Munchkin, then get the hell out of here. I don't know why you're watching this. Why are you still here? You're like 13, 14 minutes in. You know you don't like Munchkin. And if you're on the fence, this is definitely one I recommend checking out. You might have the question, is Munchkin Oz different versus Super Munchkin or Munchkin Deluxe or all the other different versions? I say no. Pick the one that interests you the most. If you like zombies, go check out Zombie Munchkin. If you like just, Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy, just go get typical Munchkin. If you're a big fan of Wizard of Oz, get this. Just get the one that interests you the most. They're all going to play about the same, but when you do delve deeper into Munchkin, you just mush stuff together, which is another thing that I've always liked about this. So Munchkin Oz, pretty self-explanatory. If you don't like Munchkin, not going to change anything. If you do like Munchkin, Insta-buy. So that's Munchkin Oz from Steve Jackson Games. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below or in the comments below. Let me know, Wizard of Oz, what's your thoughts on the movie? When I was a kid, it scared the living crap out of me. Oh my dear God. When I got to be a little bit older, and I had this weird kind of fetish when I was a kid, where I would really like evil villains, lady villains, like Rita from Power Rangers, or the Wizard of Oz, that lady. So I had a big crush on the evil witch from the Wizard of Oz. I was a really messed up kid. What do you expect, though? I went through a lot of stuff when I was a kid. Well, let me know in the comments below what are your thoughts on Wizard of Oz. I think it's pretty good. I don't know if I want my son watching it anytime soon, but still, an enjoyable movie. And as always, thanks for your time.